Want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. My name is Michael Evans, and you're listening to America's Voice Now. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm going to cover a number of issues this morning, not the least of which is the new national Blueways. There is a lot of pushback coming in relation to this, and we are running out of time to block the federal land grab being implemented here, excuse me, in regard to 18 million, yes, I said 18 million acres of land. The particular Blueways area covers an area of about 1/6 of Missouri and about 20% or 25% of Arkansas. And this is Agenda 21 being implemented as we speak, irrespective of the fact that the Senate has voted down Agenda 21 on 3 separate occasions as a national treaty. And in addition to the fact that Missouri has recently passed a legislative initiative to block or block all Agenda 21 implementation. And so we're going to talk about that in the second half of our show. I want to break our bullet points open with a couple of issues that are very disturbing. This gun rights issue has been taken to an extreme in Washington, D.C. by a man who apparently was standing outside of his home when a local 11-year-old boy who lives next door to him was being mauled by a trio of pit bulls owned by another neighbor. These pit bull dogs were tearing this kid up and ultimately caused a lot of, long-term damage to this child. But what's really interesting about this story is that a gentleman who lived next door to the boy and saw this happening went into his home, and he grabbed his pistol, and he walked outside, and he shot and killed one of the dogs. The shot brought a local police officer who shot the other 2 dogs. Sounds altogether fairly reasonable, right? I mean, the guy at this point in time did the right thing. He saved the kid's life. Here's the problem. The guns that the guy owned were not registered. So they charged him. He owned the pistol that he used, which was a Ruger, and 2 others. And they weren't legally registered in the district. And he was facing criminal charges. Well, the public pushback was pretty strong, as you can imagine. And so they struck a deal. Now, this is the example of justice in America, right? Instead of just dismissing the charges, they struck a deal that they got to whack this guy for a $1,000 fine, and he has to avoid getting into trouble for the next 2 months. He has no prior criminal record, whatever. And the community is fully behind this guy. But instead of just saying, one, the Constitution forbids, and under Heller, they're forbidden from registering a firearm in your home. They're charging this guy $1,000, which he's probably, unlikely to have. And they're going to put him on probation for 2 months. I get it, it's token. The point is, what part of shall not be infringed don't the idiots in D.C. get? I mean, this is a classic example of government run amok. Classic. 3 pit bulls attack 11-year-old boy. This guy wisely goes in, grabs his Ruger, comes back out, kills one of the dogs. Gunshot fired, cop hears it on the next block over, runs over, there's 2 other dogs left, he shoots the other 2 dogs. Kid is saved. Here's the amazing part. Some people have heard about this and tried to put up a fund to donate to this guy's legal fees and his fine. And here's what he wrote. I'm truly touched and very grateful for all the public support that I've received. However, if you can only afford to make one donation, I would prefer that you give the money to Jayon, the boy. That's the boy's name, the 11-year-old. He has declined to talk publicly about the incident because it's still active in court. But basically what he said is, I'm really not looking for the money, and the kid has got medical expenses and he's been injured, and he is urging those who want to support him to instead donate the money to his neighbor, the 11-year-old boy, Jayon Simon. Folks, that defines a true American. That's the truth. You know, that exhibits what we would all like to see from most Americans. And congratulations to you, Mr. Srigley. That's his name. Srigley, S-R-I-G-L-E-Y. Benjamin Srigley. Thank you for doing the right thing. Thank you for being a stand-up American. Thank you for saving that boy. And we apologize as America on behalf of the abuse that you have received at the hands of so-called justice. I got to tell you, people, this is really, the epitome of everything that is wrong. We've got the Senate asking the Supreme Court to block Obama's recess appointments, which is, with all due respect, a constitutional crisis in the making. We've got a president who acts as if he's a dictator. We have Ken Salazar, the Secretary of the Interior, who's actually putting together his own secretarial executive orders. I mean, who the hell does he think he is that he has the authority to issue an executive order to confiscate an area the size of darn near Illinois? I mean, really. It's absurd. And I'm really getting to the point where, I'm beginning to think that this type of behavior on the part of government has reached such a crescendo that we are going to have to take action in a way that is going to send a clear and definitive message to government that that we're taking our nation back, that we run this nation, not them. And we are not going to sit here and allow a group of statists and elitists to determine our fate and our future without our input, without our say-so, and violate every aspect of normal life. I mean, don't you guys see what's going on here? Here's a guy that does the right thing and he gets penalized for $1,000 and put on probation. Guaranteed they took his fingerprints, his DNA, and violated every other right that the guy has because he saved an 11-year-old kid. I thought Obama was saying, if we could just save one child's life. Yeah. That's what I thought, too. All right, we're going to take a break. I tell you, there are days when I just run out of patience, and this be one of them. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to talk about this Blueways thing. We're also going to talk about Eric the Trader Holder, and what he's trying to pull with an off-the-record meeting with the press to try to cover his sins like a cat out there in the sandbox trying to cover up its dirt. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for great deals on iPads or Kindles, look no further than your neighborhood Radio Shack authorized sales center. They've got great deals on the latest iPads and Kindles. Maybe you need a new GPS or an MP3 player to get your music library ready for those barbecues. Whatever your electronic needs, stop by your local neighborhood Radio Shack authorized dealer in West Plains at 1408 Southern Hills Shopping Center or call 417-256-1819. Most of us will agree that a toothbrush and toothpaste are very low-cost items when compared to major dental repair work. We just know that it's much less painful to maintain with good dental hygiene and checkups than let things go and see what happens. The same is true with vehicle maintenance. Following recommended fluid maintenance schedules and replacing filters before a problem develops is much more cost-efficient than dealing with a transmission or engine breakdown. Stop by or call Don's Auto Service to schedule the services recommended for your vehicle, 1618 Porter Wagner Boulevard, or 417-256-2752.
You know, Eric the Trader Holder is in a lot of hot water. Way too late, in my opinion, but he's now planning. I mean, you gotta get incensed at the arrogance of these scum, and scum they are. This piece of trash plans to sit down with media representatives to discuss the guidelines for handling investigations into leaks to the news media. I mean, who the hell do these people think they are to call the media in for an off-the-record discussion to tell them how to act and how to do their job, how to investigate, how to be reporters? Well, thank God, some over there in the Ministry of Propaganda are beginning to recognize that the king is castrating his own media group. The Associated Press issued a statement on Wednesday. If it is not on the record, the Associated Press will not attend, and instead will offer our views on how the regulations should be updated in an open letter. The New York Times has taken the same position. It isn't appropriate, quote, it isn't appropriate for us to attend an off-the-record meeting with the Attorney General. CNN will decline the invitation. The Huffington Post Washington bureau chief has said he will not attend unless the meeting is on the record. A conversation, quote, a conversation specifically about the freedom of the press should be an open one. We have a responsibility not to betray that, Grimm told Communist News Network. But Politico said that they plan to attend one of the meetings. A Justice Department official says Wednesday that the sessions would be off the record to encourage a full exchange of ideas. Hey, let me tell you something, media. Let me tell you something, Holder. You have no business holding off-the-record meetings in any way, shape, or form. In fact, the fact that you think that people can't have a full exchange of ideas on the record is part of the problem. What happened to accountability, transparency, the right of the press to investigate what you're doing to our country? This piece of crap can't be impeached or disbarred or kicked out fast enough. He is a absolute traitor to the United States of America, guilty of multiple counts of treason. Treason in violating his oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. Guilty of perjury. Guilty of lying. Guilty of murder in Fast and Furious. Yes, murder. Accessory to. I'll grant you, he didn't pull the trigger, but he may as well have. He knew damn well those guns were going out to a bunch of illegals. And he knew damn well what those guns were going to be used for. Justice Department, my ass! Justice. The Department of Injustice. They have the brass to stand here and say that the Attorney General has a, quote, long-standing belief that protecting and defending the First Amendment is essential to our democracy. You know, just that statement alone. First of all, this guy doesn't have a long-standing belief in anything other than what do I got to do to be Barack Obama's lapdog and lick his boots, number one. Number two, what do I got to do to increase my own power because I'm as addicted as a heroin addict? Number three, what is it that I've got to do to help destroy the infrastructure in the United States of America? Number four, what is it that I've got to do to institute my own version of socialism here? And we're not a democracy. We're a damn republic, Eric. This ain't a democracy. That's mob rule. Yes, I get it. You believe in mob rule. That's why you're trying to push this Blueways crap down our throat with your buddy Ken Salazar. Let me tell you something. This entire administration is so bent and so corrupted, there is absolutely no salvage for them. None. These people cannot be salvaged. This administration cannot be salvaged. Our nation cannot be salvaged at this point under a political scenario. You know why? H.L. Mencken said it best. A professional politician is a professionally dishonorable man. In order to get anywhere near high office, he has to make so many compromises and to submit to so many humiliations that he becomes indistinguishable from a streetwalker, also known as a whore. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the simple truth. That's why you have no business voting for Steve Hodges or Jason Smith, because they're both professional politicians. I'm sick and tired of it, and I'm tired of the nonsense. I'm tired of the people falling for the same crap over and over and over. Edmund Burke, one of the best, most influential Englishmen who came to America. Those who have once been intoxicated with power and have derived any kind of emolument from it, pleasure, even though but for 1 year, never can willingly abandon it. They may be distressed in the midst of all their power, but they will never look to anything but power for their relief. Did you hear that, people? Once in power, you are finished. Your ideology is set. Your independence is gone. Your corruption is embedded, ingrained in you. I mean, it's pathetic. I read an editorial yesterday in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, liberal rag of the eastern side of Missouri. And the editorial is titled, Steve Hodges Cares About the Issues That Matter in the 8th District. Let me tell you something. What I find the most shameful about all of this is that Steve Hodges and Jason Smith have gotten all the media attention, and nobody even talks about Enyart, and nobody even talks about Bill Slants from the Libertarian Party. In fact, they show the picture of these guys, and they're sitting on two sides of the table, and there's a 5-foot separation between Enyart and Slants, and about a 1-foot separation between Hodges and Jason. So I wrote this article. This article is a response to one posted in the St. Louis Dispatch, available here, and another one in the Southeast Missourian. What a rag that piece of crap is. Related to the recent debate between candidates running for the 8th District of Missouri. I talk about the fact that Joanne Emerson held the seat for 15 years. She ran as all incumbents do, in less than a month from election date, announced her resignation based upon a $2 million a year post she accepted as the CEO of her largest and most prolific campaign donor. In true congressional fashion, she vacated her seat in Congress to become an insider for her favorite lobbyist. Most disturbing about the move was her timing, carefully coordinated with the Republican Party to thwart the citizens of the district from choosing their own candidate. As per party rules, they, meaning the Republican Party, chose the candidate, not the voters. Now, after a tidal wave of special interest money and party support, the election is upon the voters in less than a week, and the media is in full spin. In every debate, every article, every notation of this election by the media, either no or very little mention of either the Constitution or Libertarian candidate has been made. Each video debate focuses on the Democrat and Republican candidate, and the Libertarian and Constitution candidates get little, if any, visibility or attention. Clearly, the media fix is in. After reading the Post-Dispatch article, I felt compelled to put my comments to the readers in the hopes of awakening even a single spark of critical, independent thought. My thoughts are below. Here's what I said. Sadly, this editorial missed the point that both parties, Republican and Democrat, have horribly failed our nation, our state, and their respective districts. I noticed that this article doesn't even mention that the Constitution Party and the Libertarian Party both have candidates running who have neither legislative experience, party obligations, or special interest favors to pay back. Both Smith and Hodges do, and they will make full restitution for the financial and elective support they've been given in this race and during their tenure as state reps. The fact that Doug Enyart, Constitution Party, and Bill Slants from the Libertarian Party have not been mentioned at all should alert the astute reader to their bias. Use your critical thinking skills, folks, and see this article for the shill that it is. Read between the lines and understand exactly what this writer is telling you. Doing what we've been doing for 150 years is working perfectly. You know better than that from your own experience alone. Our nation is on the verge of collapse, financially, politically, socially, mentally, and foundationally. Either you will make a change by electing those who truly have a civic duty in mind instead of a career, or you won't. If you choose to continue with the policies that have brought us to this national crisis of identity and power, you are as guilty as those who foster it upon us. I've heard the whole lesser of the two evils argument a million times. The simple truth is that if you never try it, you'll never know if you could have saved our republic. I do know that we've tried the statist version, and the results, frankly, have been horrific. Our founders told us that Congress's duty should be voluntary, short-termed, and have the right motivation. I wonder if Smith or Hodges would be running for this office if they were paid only enough to cover their expenses. Padding not permitted, of course. I suspect that Hodges would run a food store again, and Smith would go back to his puppy mills. He was never a farmer. Just shake his hand and you'll know. The Republicans shafted the citizens of the 8th District by trickery in allowing Emerson to cheat the citizenry of their right to choose their own candidate via a legitimate primary. The Democrats promised to keep you alive with government money they don't have. Both dance to the same conductor. In the end, you lose. The Libertarians believe in small government, and the Constitutionalists believe that both state and federal governments are way outside the scope of their authorized roles. The media believes it's their role to influence the half-cognizant, sleepy-eyed voter that their feral minds know what's best for them. Me? I believe in a nation that lives by the rule of law, the Constitution. I believe in microscopic federal government and miniature state government. I believe if we weren't taxed to death, we could feed ourselves and be responsible. If they didn't dangle a carrot of freebies in front of the nose of the dependently addicted, they wouldn't be dependent. I believe that both parties have been betraying our interests while bribing us with easy dependency, and that nothing is actually likely to change until the entire thing collapses like a house of cards on a windy day. Why? Because the apathy is now inbred and ingrained. No one wants to envision themselves having to actually work, use their brain, use their gifts, talents, creativity, and rational thinking minds. So, this election will go down like all the rest, a symbol of the failure of the American people to care enough about their own future to even be bothered. America, what the hell are you going to do? Time for change is upon us. It's time you either wake up or go back to sleep permanently. But one way or the other, the results are going to be one you're not going to like. You keep allowing these scum to run our nation in their own twisted fashion, and what you're going to end up with is you completely 100% enslaved. Your home's taken from you, your job's dictated to you, your money taken from you, your children taken from you, your rights to free speech to defend yourself taken from you. We're on the cusp, ladies and gentlemen. Get the hell off your chair and do something about it.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. Plugging leaks and freedom of the press. Attorney General Eric Holder inviting heads of media organizations today to speak about guidelines for investigations involving reporters. Some, though, are refusing to attend because Holder wants what's said to be kept private.
The head of the Associated Press says that the Department of Justice investigation that targeted them involved thousands and thousands of phone records going in and out of that news organization. That's coupled with the leak investigation involving Fox's James Rosen that targeted his emails and personal phone records as well.
Fox's Doug Luzader in D.C. A minivan's torn apart by a trailer unhitched from a big rig in upstate New York near the town of Truxton.
There were 7 dead at the scene, including 4 children, 3 adults.
Whitney Meeker, the Cortland County, New York coroner, the trailer shot over into the minivan's lane. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Thanks to Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop for sponsoring our phone lines. You can call our Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline, and you can get over there and get yourself a shave and a haircut. 2 bits. Well, a little bit more than 2 bits. Thanks to our friends over at Pizza Hut as well. On Porter Wagoner Boulevard, they have an outstanding lunch special. And on Tuesday nights, they have Kids Eat Free. Children under 12 eat for free. They're on Porter Wagoner Boulevard in West Plains. Make sure you visit Pizza Hut. Our friends at the Battery Station, 303 Washington Avenue at batterystation.com. You can also reach them via telephone at 257-7799. Folks over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. Kenny's a friend of ours and a great supporter of our program. 417-256-3000, located about a mile and a half on Route 160 past Walmart. You can reach him also on the web at westplainspawn.com. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. Half-mile east of Walmart at Route 62 in Mountain Home. You can find them on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. And you can call them at 870-492-4030. My friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, the best damn bakery in 100 miles. She can be reached at 417-255-2253. You can also find her at number 2 Evans Arcade. Outstanding bakery. Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 2930116. Whether remodeling, building new, or doing some kind of custom construction like commercial or farm work, Bill's the guy for you. 2930116.
The Battery Station in West Plains is your headquarters for getting and being prepared. Natural disasters, civil unrest, personal and family protection, long-term sustenance, and most importantly, peace of mind. Berkey bottles and home-sized water purification systems, survival food, MREs, freeze-dried food, survival knives, lanterns, ammunition, military sleep system, and of course, batteries of all shapes and sizes. Take charge of your own survival and security. The Battery Station, 303 Washington and West Plains, 417-257-7799 or batterystation.com.
Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information, email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, it's going to be mostly cloudy through the day with a slight chance for a thunderstorm. There'll be a breeze, high temperature 80 degrees. Mostly cloudy, a few showers and thunderstorms tonight. Those could be heavy, potentially severe, low 66. For Friday, partly sunny with a chance for a thunderstorm, high 84. I'm Jim Rinaldi. For more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
Are you looking to save money? Did you know that in the last 20 years, interest rates have never been this low? That's why you should make the smart call today to West Plains Savings and Loan to start your home mortgage. Just imagine how much money you'll save. Key word is save, as in savings and loan. Your loan starts here and stays here. Never would it be sold to a secondary lender. Call today, 256-3042. That's 256-3042. West Plains Savings and Loan. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Men who have lived under tyranny and experienced it firsthand told us in no uncertain terms what we could expect. Failure to observe and adhere to those warnings will result in our demise. those who have been once intoxicated with power and have derived any kind of enjoyment from it, even though but for 1 year, never can willingly abandon it. They may be distressed in the midst of all their power, but they will never look to anything but power for their relief. Edmund Burke, he also said, the true danger is when liberty is nibbled away for expedience and by parts. They defend their errors as if they were defending their inheritance. I don't know what more you need than the alert mind and warning of one who is far greater, far wiser, had a far more brilliant mind than I could ever hope to achieve. And quite frankly, you as well. Most likely, most of us are in that category. These people didn't have the distraction of television and all of the nonsense that separates us from the philosophical ideals of thinking within your own mind and formulating opinions by learned methodology of reading and understanding the concepts and principles of the greatness of man and looking at the historical failures of man to help formulate their opinions. We can do, look, we can sit here and we can think we know what we're talking about. But the simple truth is, these guys really knew what they were talking about. They were very, very well read. They were very learned men. They may not have had the indoctrination education you got in a college, but I'm telling you right now, when it came to matters of government, political issues, and liberty, these guys had it all over us. And they made it very clear. The true danger is when liberty is nibbled away for expedience and by parts. They defend their errors as if they were defending their inheritance. Well, here's what they consider to be their inheritance. The Blueways. Ken Salazar, traitor-in-chief of the Department of the Interior, has usurped federal authority. By the way, the entire Western Caucus of the House sent a letter to him telling him that not only had they ordered him to not do this, but he's violated the law by attempting to subvert congressional authority. I want to see that son of a gun hung on a pillory in front of all of America and fired, retired, and kicked out. I want to see these people who are out there in Congress, I want to see them in a position where they are taken out of the position where they can do us damage. If heads have got a role in these departments, it's time for that to happen. If heads have to roll in this government, it's time for America to stand up and fight back. Who are these people that think they can waltz in here with 26 stakeholders, half of them globalists and communistic in their thinking, and take away your property? I've covered this thing on the Blueways on 2 or 3 other shows. But apparently, you guys aren't getting excited enough about it because I'm not seeing anybody storming the castle. I don't know what more you want to know other than every other right you've got has been either ameliorated or taken away from you, and now they're coming to take your damn home. They're not going to do that. This is just to improve the environment. That's right. The problem is that you personally are a problem for the environment. You are the locust. You are the pest. You are the problem with environmental sustainability. That means you've got to go. 18 million acres covered under President Obama's Great Outdoors Initiative. You know, the names they give this stuff makes it sound like it's all, see Dick and Jane run. It's a scam and it's a lie. The Blueways is an absolute takeover by the federal government of sovereign state land. It's against the Arkansas Constitution, and it's against the Missouri Constitution. In fact, Arkansas has a thing they call their quorum court. Now, I'm telling you, if you're in Arkansas, it's time for you to get up and get riled, folks, because I'm telling you, if this thing isn't stopped by July of 2013, that is what, 2 short months away, we're done. We are finished. We are done. Oh, it'll take them a year or so to start implementing the rules, and then it'll come down to, well, you can't farm. You can't have cattle. You can't have your chickens crapping on the ground. That's what this is all about. Economically destroy the agricultural industry in this vast 18 million acre region. Then the people will voluntarily leave. Once they have voluntarily left, or the vast majority of them have left, where are they going to go? Well, they're going to go to St. Louis. They're going to go to Kansas City. They're going to go to Springfield. They're going to go to the major cities or the minor cities, and they're going to get out. Now, you're halfway to the way to get this 18 million acres turned back into pristine wilderness. And then what? Well, the few stragglers, the few hardcores, the few hard scrabblers left, we'll get them out by eminent domain. We'll get them out by force of law. We'll get them out by utilizing the IRS and the USDA and the EPA to charge them criminally with crimes, to fine them out of existence, to beat them via financial attrition, judicial attrition, and then finally, when we can't get the last few stragglers, we'll just shoot them! I'm telling you, people, you need to be, everybody in Missouri needs to be getting in touch with their county commissioners. There's 3. You get a hold of SCOCOG over here, and who are in the 7-county region that is covered by SCOCOG, and the similar ones to the east, to the north, to the west. And let me tell you something. And those of you down in Arkansas, they need volunteers that will bring a resolution to their quorum court in June. I want you to go to a website. This is called Secure Arkansas. Go to arkansas.securetherepublic.com. That's arkansas.securetherepublic.com. Let me tell you something, people. The feds are coming in. This is, people have said, oh, well, we don't have to worry until they come for our guns. Let me tell you something. They're here. The barbarian isn't at the gate. They've broken through. They live among us, and they're eating our children. And they're doing it completely, 100% illegally. Illegally, unethically, immorally. Well, we just are too weak to fight back. You know what? I'm so sick of that. I don't know what you people are going to wait for. I'm at the end of my rope with trying to fight and not get the support that is necessary from the citizens that I'm trying to help. I'm going to tell you all something. And maybe it's time you heard the hardcore truth. If you're not willing to help yourselves, why should people like me, why should people like these other radio hosts out there, Sam Bushman and Joyce Riley, why should we put ourselves on the line for you? Why? Start using the brilliance that God gave you and be creative. Think about a solution. Don't just stand there and say, well, I don't have one, and throw your hands up and storm off. I mean, what's the point of you listening to this program if at the end of it you go sit on your couch and tear open another bag of potato chips? I mean, really. Well, I'm too busy. I've got a job. I've got children. Hey, you know what? You're going to be too busy when they come and kick in your door and tell you to get on the cattle car, too. What are you going to tell them? I got sewing to do? Make me sick. I'm telling you, people, if you're not willing to stand up and fight for this nation and fight for your own state and fight for your own homeland, man, do me a favor. Stop listening to this program.
America's Voice Now, delivering truth over mainstream propaganda every single day. Hi, my name is Michael Evans, and I'm your host, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and Saturday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. Join me daily for important guests and my unique slant on hot topics in the news. Visit americasvoicenow.org for even more news, articles, and commentary, and watch our show streaming live to your PC. Share your morning with me. Get educated, informed, motivated, and activated. America's Voice Now, right here on 107.1.
Have you heard? Proactive is America's top acne system because it's fast and gentle, and it's all about prevention. So stay tuned for a chance to participate in a 60-day trial to prove it. Do you have troubled skin, acne? With Proactive, you can heal your acne and help prevent new breakouts. Right now, in this radio area, we're looking for just 50 people with moderate acne to demonstrate exactly how fast Proactive works. The first 50 callers who qualify can try Proactive risk-free for 60 days. And you get our dermatologist's clear skin or it's free guarantee. Plus, the trial includes our legendary refining mask and green tea moisturizer free. Be one of the 50 lucky people to complete this 60-day risk-free trial. You won't see this offer in stores or on TV. It's a radio exclusive. Supplies are limited and the trial offer ends soon. So call now. 1-800-575-9206. That's 1-800-575-9206. 1-800-575-9206.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
The nightmare, the monstrosity that is Obamacare is going to be run by the nightmare, the monstrosity that is the Internal Revenue Service. I wonder if they're going to have a determinations unit examining all Obamacare decisions. Excuse me, pathologist? Really? Well, send us some x-rays first. Oh, and, are you a member of the Tea Party?
Weeknights from 5 till 8, Mark Levin on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
You know, I covered a story that last week about a whistleblower coming out about the World Bank. And they're all over this woman, beating the tar out of her. They've charged her criminally and some other issues. I'm telling you, folks, don't you see what's going on around you? She came out and reported corruption in the World Bank, which is, I mean, not for nothing, but, you know, get real. The World Bank is, and the Federal Reserve and the reserve banks in the around the nation are now targeting and this woman. I'll tell you what, I'll be surprised if she doesn't have a brake failure or some other ridiculous thing. But you see, everybody who has a public voice is doing their part. And I got to ask you, what are you doing to do yours? You don't have to have a national voice, but you got to get involved and you got to get active. You got to get mad. You got to take and direct and focus that knowledge and anger and frustration that you've got in the right, channel it in the right direction. Get a hold of every county commissioner in the 60 counties that are involved in this, whether they've been in Missouri or Arkansas. Let's get every one of those commissioners together. I don't care if we each donate $5 and we get them all in one room. Literally thousands of us. Let's go grab a stadium somewhere and demand that they stop this thing now. And those who don't show up, those who can't make it for such an important theft of our property that they're supposed to be protecting us from, those county commissioners who won't attend, those senators, those House members who won't show up, federal or state, they are persona non grata. Why don't you organize it? Why don't you organize it? Tell you what. It's not enough to be aware. It's not enough just to talk about it to your neighbors. It's not enough to just stand around and gripe and whine and complain. You've got to be an active participant. You've got to put your money where your mouth is, get your skin in the game. The tyranny is coming on us, folks, in tidal waves. It's no longer lapping waves at the beach. Don't you smell it? Don't you see it? It's everywhere. Common Core in our schools. Speaking of which, Glenn Beck is going to do a special today at 4 o'clock on the Blaze TV. He's going to have, I think it's 45 national experts on education on this Common Core issue. You know, they're still moving forward with it. They don't care what you think. They don't care what you want. That's the definition of an elitist and a statist and a globalist. We know what's best for you. And we have assumed control. I mean, really? That scumbag Blunt up there passes the Monsanto Protection Act? What the hell is that? You give a company complete judicial and congressional immunity from prosecution or even the ability to stop them from selling a product that everybody knows is dangerous? I mean, that's treason, people. And on June 5th, by the way, his lackeys will be here at the West Plains City Hall between 2 and 3 p.m. Republican U.S. Senator Roy Blunt's staff. This piece of crap doesn't even have the courage to show up himself. We'll be holding a listening post. Listening post? From 2 to 3 p.m. on June 5th at City Hall in West Plains. These are designed for Missourians to share their questions and concerns with members of his staff. Boy, if that doesn't scream elitist, I don't know what does. He's too busy to talk to us directly, of course. I'm in Congress over there in Washington, and I've got these important meetings to attend, and, young ladies to meet, and fine wine to drink, and rare steaks to eat. But I'll send my folks over to Podunk, West Plains there, and you guys can tell them what you think. They'll be sure to bring me back a full report. People, I don't know what more you want from the voices in the wilderness, but the voices in the wilderness can only do so much. I got to tell you, it's getting to the point where you are not going to, you're going to have to take an active functional role here and play a leadership role yourselves. You have to. We're out of time. We are out of time, people. You must take a leadership role. You don't have to be the general. You don't have to be the CEO. You don't even have to be the chief technology officer. You don't even have to be a mid-level manager. You just got to manage a team, a local group. Manage a rally. Put something together. Have 25 people over in your backyard for a barbecue. Get 5 commissioners in a meeting. Get 20 commissioners in a meeting. I mean, look, What do you expect? I have people say to me all the time, hey, you need to put up another Facebook page about 90 days that will change the world so everybody knows. You know what? I don't have the time. You put it up. Hey, you got to talk about this. I'm sending this stuff over to you. You got to make sure you talk about this. What do I look like? You think George Washington sat there and led the troops and loaded the guns and fired them for them and wiped their butts and cooked their food? I mean, come on. He had majors, and he had lieutenants, and he had sergeants. What are you people waiting for? I don't get it. Does it sound like I'm mad? Hell yeah, I'm mad. I'm not mad at the tyranny. I'm explosive at the tyranny. What I'm mad about is that you're all willing to allow it to go down every single day. It's frightening. The true danger is when liberty is nibbled away for expedience and by parts. They defend their eras as if they were defending their inheritance. That's why I wrote that 90 days that will change the world piece. I don't see any way to do this electorally. But massive civil disobedience in the tens of millions of Americans who just sit down and say, we quit. We're done. We're not working anymore. We're not paying you anymore. We're not buying anything anymore. We're not going to keep the economic engine running. We've stopped. Call us John Galtz. But we are going to stop the economic engine. Yes, it may drag the rest of the world, but we can't go on like this. How much longer can we go on? How much more tyranny can we afford? Edmund Burke, those who have once been intoxicated with power and have derived any kind of emolument, which means the word is pleasure, who have derived any kind of pleasure from it, even though but for 1 year, never can willingly abandon it. I'm going to turn that around on you. Those who have once been intoxicated with dependency, whoa, did you hear that? Those who have been once intoxicated with dependency and have derived any kind of emolument or pleasure from it, even though but for 1 year, never can willingly abandon it. They may be distressed in the midst of all their troubles, but they will never look to anything but dependency for their relief. Are you already a slave? Have you already put on the pretty silver bracelets willingly? I don't care that you're busy at a job. I don't care that you've got to spend time with the family. Let me tell you something. It ain't going to be long before there isn't a family. So you're either going to sacrifice now, or you're going to, for a short term, or you're going to permanently sacrifice then. People, the choice is yours, and the time is up. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans, the tired, the frustrated, the very angry, the angry at them, the angry at you, because I can't get America to move. You can find us on the web at americasvoicenow.org, facebook.com/America's Voice Now. This and every other show at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. America, where do you stand? It's time to stand.
KBMV Birch Tree is the Ozarks best news talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.